Well, thank you for coming to this presentation and the spotlight. And tonight in our spotlight, we have Dawn Kashuba. She is an amazing person. She is a wonderful woman who leads with her heart all the way. And I got the privilege of meeting her a few months back, probably about 6 months ago. And Dawn is an author. She's a financial planner. She has some really great books. She is on Amazon if you want to check her out. She has a teenage book that she has promoted so that it teaches teenagers all about money, something we've all been talking about for a long time that's been necessary in the world. So Dawn decided to create it. So she's a visionary. And so when I met Dawn, I met her at a at an event, and she was not she was interested, but not for her, and it was more for her husband. And so we got to know everybody, we got to know each other. And I'll let her jump into her story because it's very remarkable. Um, and I found that I was able to have the privilege to be able to patch her over the phone, believe it or not. And we worked together, her husband and I, when she was in a state that she couldn't help herself. So without further ado, Dawn, please let us know about your story, your before, your during, and your after. And I might jump in and ask you some questions along the way, if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for the intro, Lisa. Yeah, so I went to a gathering. One of my uh, some dear friends had said, "Hey, listen, I've got this thing, and I don't know if it's for you. And would you like to come?" And my husband was sitting there in the background, and he's like, "Yes, yes, yes, we want to come." But his work didn't allow him to be there. So I was like, okay, I'll go and be the messenger. So I was going for him. And we came home. I gave him the info, and he was watching some of David Schmidt's videos. And I was literally writing my next book beside him, just, not paying attention. And then the word surgery and wound care and post op started coming up. And so, next thing I found was myself engaged listening to this YouTube video and not writing. And then I said to my husband, I think we're going to talk to Lisa, but I'm not too sure this is about you anymore, honey. I think this is about me. So the reason I say that is because in November, I was slated to go in for surgery. This surgery took 2/3 of one organ and 1/3 of a second organ. I had, I think, 5 or 6 incisions on the abdomen area, and was extremely very uncomfortable. Obviously, it was a very invasive surgery. The day of surgery in hospital, they told my husband and I that, she's going to be uncomfortable for a period of time. She's going to need this anti-nausea medication for probably the next 6 months. The only downfall it is $300, and that's Canadian. So, $300 a month to prevent nausea. And so, it's the old proverbial. I made my overnight in the hospital, and bandages looked fine. So they said, okay, it's you're not in excruciating pain at this moment, so we're going to get you to head on out, and you have to stay in the area for 10 days and then go home. And so we did. We packed up, and my husband said, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Well, I really don't want to be sick in the middle of the night with nausea, especially with these incisions and the trauma that's happened on the inside. Just get the medication. Like, we're just gonna have to suck up the cost of it and get it." So we did, and we went back to the Airbnb we were staying at, and I really just wanted to go to bed. I was so uncomfortable. I must have been really deep in Lisa's subconscious, because at some point she sent a text message and said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And I was like, "Good." She's like, "Can you text?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And after I read a few of my messages, I realized I was really not coherent enough to be typing. So I gave the phone to my husband and said, "You need to talk to her." So he didn't want to text. He picked up the phone. He called Lisa, and he says, "Listen, she's not doing well." She's in a lot of pain. She's extremely uncomfortable. They got her on this nausea medication she's going to have to take. She's on all this stuff, and I'm not too sure what we're supposed to do. So Lisa and my husband Gord had a really good conversation, and she's like, okay, we're going to put these patches on her. And we used X49, X39, LifeWave, and Eon. And I had SP6 as well. And so she told him where to put everything on the abdomen area, and I just went to bed. I woke up the next morning and I was like, I'm not going to say it's the patches. It's not going to say it's the patches. I feel better, but I'm not going to say that. So now I couldn't roll over in bed. I had to have pillows prop me up. I had very limited mobility. I wasn't allowed to go to the bathroom myself. I wasn't allowed to shower by myself, and so on. So so that was the first day after surgery. Second day post-surgery, I got up in the morning. We continued to patch like Lisa had told us to do. And I got up that second day post-surgery and said to my husband, all right, there's something here. The patches are doing something, because I'm not in any pain. I can roll back and forth in bed. I can get up and go to the bathroom. Like I'm not in any discomfort at all. And he's like, really? I'm like, this is true. Now I still tired. And so I still napped and such. And then fast forward a couple of days, 4 days post-surgery, I walked 4 city Vancouver blocks to Remembrance Day ceremony. I stood there for the hour of the ceremony. We walked the 4 blocks back. We got in the car. We went to Costco. We did grocery shopping. We came back to the Airbnb. We went up and did a walk on the boardwalk, and we came back, and I was like, okay, what are we going to do now? And I can say I had absolutely no pain. I had no discomfort. You did not know I just went and had a major surgery 4 days prior to that. And the $300 medication to this day has not been opened. I did not have to have that anti-nausea medication to support my healing or my recovery. We then were able to come home 10 days post-op. We came home, and I was a little concerned about the drive, because we were 6 hours from home, and worried about car sick and nausea and such, and did not have any symptoms of any upset stomach or nothing. I was, as my husband said, I must be normal, because I was a chatterbox again. And he just drove and listened. So we knew I was on the mend. And then once we were home, I had to go to the doctor's office to have the stitches removed. And the nurse in the doctor's office actually argued with me. She said to me, there's no way you had your surgery on November 6th. I said, well, I was kind of there. I think I did. I had my surgery November 6th. And she's like, you couldn't have had your surgery on that date, because these staples are falling out and your incisions are well over 3 to 4 weeks old. And I said, they're not, though. I had the surgery on the 6th. I'm here exactly 10 days later to have these staples out. And she was like, I don't know what you're doing, but the only redness to this incision was the little red dots where the staples were. The staples were already elevated above the skin, and the skin only had like a tiny white little scar appearing. And to date, you can't even really see the scars. There's one scar you can see underneath the breastbone, but there's absolutely no other scars that you really can see. They are not prominent. They are not there. And so to date, I feel great. I have all my energy back. I have my endurance back. I have no discomfort. I've never had to take any of the anti-nausea medications that were prescribed. I'm not on any painkillers. I live a normal, clean, healthy life with my patches.
Your story is just so remarkable, Dawn. And when you say November, that was November. Was it October, did you say, or November? November, right?
My surgery is November 6th. I started the
Yes.
patches the last week of October. So about 7 days before my surgery, I had patches on my body, had the
Hmm.
surgery November 6th. And we're just 2 months post-op on February 6th.
Yeah, this is remarkable. Like it's quite incredible. And for the simple fact that they had really warned you, look, you're going to be nauseous for a long time, and this is going to be calming you down, this expensive medicine, and you're going to have to take it. I remember you stressed that, and it was very like, no, this is going to be a way of life for you. You're just going to have to adapt to it. And in the back of my head, I had a little smile going on. I was thinking, oh boy, I can't wait for you to wear these patches. And so it was interesting because it was a really, really interesting connection because I was in Punta Cana at the time. I had earned the trip that David had, and I was in bed and I was like, Dawn, I need to see how Dawn's doing. And so, yeah, it was great because your husband was so game to helping you, and he was just a catalyst in your recovery. And it really didn't take much, did it? It was a couple days we communicated by text and a phone call, and you were well on your way. For you to be walking like that for that length of time after such a major surgery, it's remarkable.
Yeah,
So
it
maybe,
was it was funny because we never thought anything of it. It wasn't like the only thing I thought of was like, oh, yeah, I want to be careful in the environment we are because I really don't want to come down with anything. I don't want to get sick. Like I was that way, but we weren't going like, are you can you do it, can you walk? It was like, no, let's just go. And when I said it to him, I like, 4 days post-op, I just had surgery 4 days ago, and it was that aha moment, like, really, like, wow, that's crazy.
yeah, it really, really has been. And what a great journey, and that's the thing is another funny thing happened with Dawn is that I had texted her or thought that I had texted her, and she didn't want to take a look at sharing this. She was just like, no, no, I just want to see how this is for me. And I was like, yeah, of course, respectful of that. Absolutely. Well, I ended up texting and I was like, hey, there's this opportunity. It's 10 minutes long. Want to jump on? And this person texted me back, yeah, I do. I texted them, hey, wasn't that great? And I said somebody's name. No, I said, wasn't that great? Do you want to do a Zoom call with me? Yeah, I do. And so I said, yes, so and so. And she said, oh, this is Dawn. And so then Dawn, I said, oh no, I didn't mean to text you. I'm so sorry, but hey, this is great. And so can you talk a little bit about what's changed and shifted for you from going to, hey, let me just give me a minute here to, okay, I want to take a look at this.
Yeah, so like, I'm just going to be really real here. Is I've worked a lot, long and hard on my personal transformation and my self healing, and I'm so much believe in that there's a mind, body, soul that has to be healed, and we work to in recovery in that. When I saw LifeWave, it's like, I'm just not taking on an MLM. I'm just not doing it. I'm going to be honest and real. That was the first thing that went through my mind. I'm just not doing it. I'm not good at it. And then we said, yeah, we'll try the patches, and it was for my husband. And then I went through this surgery and started feeling this magic, and that's the only way I can say it, is it was magic. Because you know what, I've had a gallbladder out before, I've had my appendix out, I've had a C-section with twins. I know what recovery looks like. I know what they mean with 6 or 8 weeks with these past recoveries. And when I'm told that this is like at least 3 months for you, and in 4 days, I'm like, what? Crazy, right? So that's when I was like, no, the world needs to know what this is. The world, if I can help just one person not have to suffer with any kind of recovery and help them rejuvenate or have longevity and just being able to tell my story helps somebody, then that's ultimately a win for me. And that's when both my husband and I saw what happened with me, and we're like, the world needs to know this. So we shifted this into a business for ourselves, and we want to bring this to absolutely everybody. And whomever touches it and wants to look at that more, if it's for them, great. If it's not, that's okay. But like you said earlier, it's a disservice not to tell them. And I'm sure glad that somebody was able to tell me about it so I could have this experience.
I'm so happy that they did too, because, we got to meet. And just like Tina wouldn't have met me if it wasn't for her people that patched me, that stranger that I met that are now really good friends of mine, I wouldn't have met you either. And we get to talk on a regular basis, and I've got to know how brilliant you are with your writing and, and your personality and who you are. Tina asked me, "What color is Dawn when you think of Dawn?" Tina, you see her back wall? I can only say purple. She's a purple. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you very much, Dawn, for sharing with us tonight, for sharing with other people, and and for trusting in the process, and just one foot in front of the other. And as we walk this journey together, I know we're gonna help a lot of people. And this is a collective movement. This is really what I call it, because we're bringing light into the body, and it just goes beyond the physical. It goes into another space. And we've had some moments within that space which have been really kind of cool. So, it really does enlighten you, I guess you would say. And I like to open it up for people to be able to ask you specific questions. So, are you good with that? We'll get
Yeah,
some questions
absolutely.
going up.